Now, we've got breaking news. Let's bring in former acting DHS Secretary Chad Wolf. More news is coming in, Chad. It's good to see you. A federal appeals court just blocked the Biden White House for now from removing razor wire barriers at the Texas border at Eagle Pass. But here's the thing, Chad. The court is ruling that Texas has sovereign immunity here. That's the big fight now over Texas's new border security law, tightening security at the border, that it's a states' right fight. The Supreme Court has said the federal government has jurisdiction here. But, Chad, the Biden White House has been accused of breaking border laws right and left. And that's the issue. They can say they have jurisdiction, but they've been actually breaking and violating border laws.
I think that's right. I think the issue at stake here is when the federal government refuses to do their job and fulfill their responsibilities of protecting local communities, particularly in Texas and South Texas, where does the governor have to step in and enforce the law? And so that's the dynamic that we see here, is that Governor Abbott and others are having to take some new measures, some dramatic measures to protect their communities and enforce border security along that border where previously and historically they have not had to do that because the federal government would do its job. We've seen under the Biden administration, they just refuse to implement immigration law and border security. Yep. And so that's where we find ourselves, and that's this back and forth in court where Governor Abbott says, look, I've got to do more than I have historically done, and the federal government is saying, no, 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 it's a federal responsibility. Yeah,
but they're not backing up their own federal responsibility. That's going to be the Supreme Court fight if it goes there. You've got more Democrats like Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs saying the Biden White House is wrong here. New York Mayor Democrat Eric Adams is saying the White House is derelict in its duty. The GOP governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, said that President Biden's, quote, deliberate inaction. He's deliberately giving Texas no choice but to fend for itself. Show the viewer, we got more news coming in. The ACLU, Chad, and the White House are attacking the new Texas law that increases border security to keep communities safer. Let's show the viewer what the law does. So what the Biden White House is saying, basically, it's saying that this law will make Texans and Americans less safe, that it's not who we are as a nation. Chad, what do you think of those comments?
Well, this administration has no leg to stand on. They have no credibility to make those types of statements. And they keep throwing out phrases like we need to honor our values. But the values of the Biden administration in their immigration policy is completely backwards. They basically are advertising anyone and everyone who wants to come to the United States, regardless of your merit, regardless of whether you have an actual asylum claim or not, you're entitled to come to the United States. And then when you get here, we shouldn't remove you. These are the types of values that they have built a 3-year strategy around. It's a failed strategy by any measure or metric, and every day is worse than the last. And we continue to have historic days of this illegal immigration, day after day after day. They're on the wrong side of this. The majority of Americans know this. And now, as you indicated, you have blue city mayors and governors that are saying we're on the wrong side of this.
You know, you've got Texas state lawmakers saying enforcement's going to take place mostly in the border neighborhoods that have been really run into the ground. This is not a dragnet. They're saying they're not going to round up everyone who's here illegally and ship them back. But their problem is this. They're approaching 1,400. 1,400 all in terrorists on the terror watch list caught at the border under this Biden White House. More than 52,000 criminal illegal aliens caught crossing. We're talking murderers, rapists, kidnappers, drug traffickers, human traffickers. So why does it feel like everything this White House touches, this president touches, turns into a free-for-all? The botched Afghanistan exit, the border is in chaos. Yeah. Trillions thrown at COVID and infrastructure and green energy spending with record fraud and abuse. The free-for-all in Biden family corruption scandals. The White House just can't throw more money at the border problem. He literally did hundreds of executive actions outside Congress, many of them weakening the border security. So why doesn't the president just take his pen, his own executive pen, and reverse the policies that he put in place on his own? Because he collapsed the border, and this is collapsing his poll numbers.
Well, absolutely. You're right on all of those fronts. And I think it's interesting. It's interesting timing that the White House and some Democrats are now saying, hey, we need border security legislation. Where have they been for the last 3 years? And I would say now they only want to try to address this issue. They don't want to solve it, but they want to address it because they want more Ukraine funding, and they're coming into an election year. Otherwise, there's no reason why they haven't take their own action over the last 3 years to solve this crisis. They have the authority to do it. They just refuse to use it.
Yeah, you know, he broke it, he owns it, right? That's it. Chad Wolf,
right.
thank you so much. Good to see you.